Finally, speaking on strategies for neighborhood revitalization during financial crisis is Mr. Tony Fischer. Mr. Fischer is a teacher of English as a second language who recently returned from 5 years of service in active duty for the U.S. Army Infantry, including combat tours in Iraq. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Foreign Service from Georgetown University. Mr. Fischer is endorsed by the Democratic Party and lives in Madisonville. Welcome.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the Greenwich and the League of Women Voters for having me and holding this event. And I have to respectfully disagree with Kevin. I'm pretty sure the Bible says, I think it was John, that all you need is love. And I think we are bringing that to City Council, and that's what I'm bringing to City Council. As a native of Cincinnati, I'm bringing my love for the city and my love of service. And that's how I hope to change what we need to change Cincinnati and make it better. And we've got, obviously, this budget crisis that we're facing. And really the question is, how do we move Cincinnati forward given this enormous deficit? And I think what we have to do is focus on the things that Cincinnati as a city can actually control. And we have to focus on the potential liabilities that this budget crisis creates. And so this is a result of unemployment. The city does not have as many people paying into the payroll tax. That's why our revenues are down. That's the reason. So what we have to do is attract new people to pay into that payroll tax. How do you do that? Well, you live or work in the city. That's how you pay to the payroll tax. That's what funds the operating budget. So we need to make sure that we're attracting new residents. That is key. And I think that the way we can do that, there's a three-pronged approach. One, public safety. You've heard about it a lot. You're going to continue to hear about it a lot because that is the area where the city has most control over its future. You know, the fact of the matter is, in my experience as a soldier in Iraq, both during my initial deployment in 2005 and also as part of the surge, is that boots on the ground do matter. More troops, more police presence, and that's what we were doing over there, was largely policing. It makes a difference. It tamps down illicit activity. I mean, that's I can only speak from my experience, but that is what my experience taught me over there, is the vast importance of actual people enforcing the law. Neighborhood business districts, key. You see it right here in Walnut Hills at Peebles Corner. You know, this is actually a pretty relatively vibrant neighborhood business district with a lot of businesses that have been around for a long time. My brother works at a business that's right above Beck's Hardware. And that business, both the one that he works at, Urban Transportation Associates, and Beck's Hardware, has been in the area for quite some time. But we can tell, just by walking down the street, what sort of physical improvements to this neighborhood business district would do to completely revitalize the area. We all know that the difference between a Cincinnati neighborhood and a suburban neighborhood is a walkable neighborhood business district, and that's key. And finally, we need to support our public schools. As a graduate of Cincinnati Public Schools, I think it is essential that we maintain a good school system, and the city has to do everything it can to support that to attract new residents. My name is Tony Fischer, and I appreciate your support November 3rd. Thank you.
Mr. Fischer, do you view Cincinnati as a safe city, and why or why not?
I think that's an excellent question. I view Cincinnati as a safe city, but what I've learned is that you have to realize that you're dealing with people's perceptions as well. There's two things: there's perception, and then there's the fact of actual crime statistics. And so, I can't judge based on a city council member, as a city council member, my own opinion on every issue. I have to view what the people as a whole want, and the desires of the people in our neighborhood who make up our city. And then you take into account what you can draw from the statistics and what you can draw from the expert opinion of people. And so I think that what people want in our neighborhoods, particularly in a time when we have to make priorities, is a strong police presence. And so as a city council member, I have to execute the will of the people.
Mr. Fischer, affordable housing is a hot-button item for many neighborhoods, yet the programs with rental subsidies are at capacity in Cincinnati and all have long waiting lists, and the only housing many Cincinnati families and seniors can find that's affordable to them is unsafe and substandard. What can the city of Cincinnati do to increase the amount of good, affordable housing that's available for its residents?
Well, I think that, as we heard in the last round, and Council Member Birding got the same question, and he said how important it was to get the Housing and Environmental Court set up in Cincinnati, a court that is devoted solely to these types of issues. And a similar one would be based on the models in Cuyahoga County, which is in Cleveland, and Franklin County, which is in Columbus, basically. That's the Columbus County. And what you have there, what you see there, is that this is one of the major problems with the city government, is that the state only allows you to do certain things. In this case, that law was written to allow a full-time housing court in only those two counties, despite the fact that Hamilton County is one of the largest counties in the country, or excuse me, in the state, and the metropolitan area is the largest in the state. So we need to fund that housing court locally, but get the approved legislation from the state.
Mr. Fisher, I'd like to expound on the email question posed to you earlier. Statistics put out by the police department show homicides are down, certain other types of crime are down. Yeah, we constantly hear from incumbent council members about the need for more police officers. I was wondering, one, do you believe the statistics put out by the police department? And two, if a lot of the problem is based on perception, should we invest dollars based on people's perceptions?
I don't think that people are necessarily asking for additional hiring of police officers at this time. They're just asking to keep the amount of police officers that have been hired since 2005. And during that time, you've seen a decrease in crime, particularly in areas like over the Rhine that have seen commensurate amount of investment dollars in terms of the actual infrastructure and buildings in the area. So I think that what we see here, the success that we see, is that when you invest in enforcement in an area that is high crime, and then you combine that with real dollars to invest in the infrastructure of the area, that you see real results. And so I think that's what we're trying to do, is take that success that we've had since 2005 in revitalizing an area such as over the Rhine and bring it out to other neighborhoods. And to do that, we need to continue to have the tools that we've used successfully in that area.
And the last question, Mr. Fisher. Unemployment rates are high. You mentioned in your opening statements that you would like to see more jobs come to the city. If elected, how do you plan to make that happen?
I think that the best way we can get jobs to locate in the city is making sure that we have people who want to locate in the city. Perfect thing, example of this is United Airlines in Chicago recently said they were going to move their entire operations from the suburbs, 2,700 people, into the city of Chicago, and that's because 70% of their workforce now lives in the city of Chicago. So you can see that there is a direct relationship between where people want to live and where people want to work. They want to work, if they have the opportunity, near their homes. And that is really the best method by which the city, and the most amount of control the city has over attracting new business, is making it attractive for residents. So I think that is the key, and that's why I focus my platform on that issue. Thank you. And I am focused on my run on city council on bringing new residents to the city and keeping all the current residents we have. That's how you deal with an economic crisis in our neighborhoods. You implement policies that will have safe streets, implement policies that focus on improving our neighborhood business districts, and supporting our public schools, because those are the three things that are really going to draw residents into the city. And that's how we are going to grow as a city, and that's how we know that we're making our neighborhoods a desirable place. And it's a real way and a benchmark we can tell by if we're being a successful city and a successful city council. New residents and growth. So I hope on November 3rd you vote for me, Tony Fisher. My website is www.votetonyfisher.com. Thank you.